Off the debt, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the minimum wage. So your organization, even prior to you joining, had quite a bit to say about that. And just to remind everyone, in 2017, the province legislated that on January 1st of this year, the minimum wage would rise from $11.40 to $14, and that it would go to $15 January 1st, 2019. I think a lot of the commentary and criticism we saw was not people saying, no, people that work at that level should never get a raise or like that, and that $11.40 was plenty. I didn't hear that. What I heard a lot about was the pace of the change, how much all at once, how quickly, and the amount of time that business had to adapt and adjust. What's the OCC's view on that, and what are your members telling you on that subject?
Well, you've laid it out perfectly, Joe. Everyone wants all of society to benefit from our economy and to do well. And wealthier consumers, it's greater demand, it's greater market, et cetera. But the pace is unprecedented in any jurisdiction in North America of that jump. And being able to adjust to that is not a given. Again, this notion that businesses are somehow all billionaires with private jets heading down to numbered accounts in Panama with bags of cash is a caricature that's laughable. The vast majority of businesses have to deal with tight margins, and if you suddenly increase a key labor component by 21% overnight, you have to expect significant dislocation. It's not just even the minimum wage. In addition, in Bill 148 are a whole host of additional regulations around scheduling, which, again, intent is really right and right-minded. The government wants to be sure that businesses don't game the system and put people into part-time simply to avoid paying benefits, right? So they want to protect part-time workers. I get that. But the blunt instruments that they've created are such that now, if you're a part-time worker who works one day in a month that has 1, 2, or 3 stats, the employer also has to pay for the stats.
The statutory holidays.
Statutory holidays, which now what a lot of our members are doing is simply reducing hours and cutting out days that they would otherwise be there, because it makes no economic sense anymore, because you're doubling or tripling your costs on those days. So how do you make that work?
There's a layering effect beyond the wage itself.
Right. So there's a double impact, and then there's a third, because as it happens, the employer health tax is paid as a percentage of your payroll. So if you've increased payroll 21%, then you add the EHT on top of it. And it was one of the things that we, in our pre-budget submission, we presented to the government, hoping to get some relief, at least take the salt out of the wound of taxing on the increase that you've mandated us to put in. But no, they've actually doubled down and added another $500 million in taxes. So not what we were hoping for.
Sure, understood. Now, you may or may not be aware, but we actually had Doug Ford sitting in your chair on a previous show, and it was actually during his leadership campaign, and he ended up winning. So it's my position that appearing on this show put Doug Ford over the top and helped him win. So having said that,
I don't have to worry about any elections, Joe.
I asked Doug about his view on the minimum wage, and he said he'd leave the $14 in place, and that he would not proceed with the $15 an hour next January 1st. But he added, unprompted by me, that those people who are at that income level should be receiving additional help, and that in his view, the way to help them would be to have anybody who earns up to $30,000 a year not pay any provincial income tax. At the same time, he is committed to running balanced budgets. So if, as you know, it's a zero-sum game, if somebody's paying less tax, somebody else is going to pay more. So does it mean that in a way that some of your members, those small business owners that maybe don't have to incur the additional wage costs, but have to perhaps help their employees out through their own provincial income taxes, Is this just a way of kind of reshuffling the chairs on the deck here? Like, one way or another, we're all going to pay?
Look, I think we need to look at the math, and I think we should also be revisiting the notion of building in inflationary increases of minimum wage over time. So it's something that businesses can plan for and can absorb more easily. Again, the issue is this came in a sense out of nowhere, and all of the pre-expert advice, et cetera, was to suggest that it not be done. It's certainly not done at that extent and that time frame. But we need to have a more predictable model going forward, and that's all our membership is asking for.